Hello, my name is Mewairimo, and I have accepted the Janjarupa challenge. So my con story is very interesting. So in 2017, I was working for some company in Westlands. We're doing sales. A couple of weeks after I joined the company, some guy joined looking very sharp, always had very nice suits. He was a Christian, so he was always coming in and he's like, yeah, guys, let's pray. So we're like, oh, okay, this guy is okay, he's okay. So we worked for like a month. This was October. So October, November. The beginning of October, he calls me aside and he's like, yo, May, my company, aren't you doing sales? Anyway, my company is getting a new installment of investors because he said he had a water company and they supplied water to different places, to bus companies, blah blah blah. So I was like, okay, I'm into investments. Go on, keep talking. He starts telling me how they start a new investment installment, I guess, for new investors in January. So he tells me about it. End of December, we take a work trip. All of us were going to the coast, and it was a work trip for all of us. So yeah, we take the trip while we're there, because by this point we've been working together for about 3 months. While we're there, one of the days he goes to the ATM and the ATM has no money. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I mean, I don't have much money, but I guess I can lend you like 10 Gs so you can survive the rest of this trip. By the time you get home, it will have been sorted out. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I lent him money. See, I know we work together. I can always get it back from him there. We come back from the work trip. January rolls around. So I'm like, okay. This is the January he was talking about. So, because I love to think things through, I asked for 3 things. For company statements to show how the money was coming in and going out from other investors. I asked for names of investors so I can at least call and verify the information that he is giving me. And 3, I asked for a contract to look at before the day of the signing. So by this time, because I'm asking for all this information constantly and he's stalling, I'm like, I don't know, something just felt wrong. So mid-January is when on a Sunday, he's like, okay, fine, I'll bring those things to you tomorrow and then we can sign and go ahead with the plan. I'm like, cool. So Monday, I was supposed to meet him around 1. 1 comes. 2, I'm like, yo, I've been waiting for an hour. I've gone. So I leave, I go home. Then later that evening, he's like, I'm sorry, I bounced you. I was stuck in the office doing 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, we don't work on Mondays. He's like, no, I'm in my company. I was like, oh, okay, I'm sure you're busy. So I'm at home. The evening is ending at about 10 p.m. He calls me. He's like, hey, I'm at your house. Come downstairs. I'm like, sorry, what? What time is this? 10. You've come to my house. Who told you can come to my house at night? It was crazy. It was insane. So anyway, I'm like, okay. So you know what? I'm already tired. I am already dressed for bed. I am not coming downstairs. If you want to talk to me at this hour, considering you are not invited, you bring yourself to my house, to my doorstep, because I'm not about to leave the house. And of course, I thought this was a bit odd because I knew he was meeting another friend of ours from the office, so she can also sign her paperwork. By this point, please note, I still have not received soft copy of the said contract, the contacts that he was supposed to give me, or the financial statements of the company. So I'm like, okay, this guy has been snaking me, so let's see if he'll actually bring them. Kumbe, he went to meet this other person in the afternoon, and then when he finished with her is when he came to my house. So he's like, yeah, I just met with so-and-so. I want to leave her name out of this because there's an entire court case still happening. How many years later? 3 years later, there's a court case that's still happening. So I'd rather leave her name out of this. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I've come from so-and-so's house. She signed. In fact, here is her contract, and this is how much she's invested, and and she'll get her first installment of the returns end of January. I'm like, pretty good. I like to see results. So I was like, okay, what about your financial statements for the company? And he's like, I forgot about that. I'll bring for you tomorrow. But here's the contract. You sign, and then we can start this story. So I'm like, wait, I asked you for 3 things. You've only given me one. The contract that looks like you drew it up like this morning. So of course, already my red flag was like, ding, 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 ding. Then you didn't bring any contacts that I can verify from, and then you're rushing me to sign this contract that looks like somebody in Form 4 could have drawn it, to be honest. So I was like, okay, leave me with it. Let's talk tomorrow morning. Oh, you have never seen someone turn. Huh? You don't trust me? Why are you refusing to sign this? And he went on and on and on and on. And I'm like, what just happened? You know, this is me choosing to invest. It's not like I had an obligation to invest in your company. He's like, yeah, but the deadline for signing up is tomorrow. I'm like, no. You hadn't given me any deadline for signing up. This is me choosing to, not I owe you guys money or anything like that. So I'm like, this guy, strike 3. No, I think this was like strike 5 by this point, because he didn't bring the other things. Sorry. So yeah, I'm just like, this is not making sense. So I tell him, you need to leave. By this point, it's like 11, because now he's practically begging. So I'm like, hiya, Nelson, listen, get yourself together, leave. We will talk tomorrow. So I sent the contract to a friend of mine, and they're like, this looks as dodgy as it sounds. So next day we go to work, and this other friend at work calls me aside. She's like, hey, how are you doing? So how did it go with the meeting yesterday? So apparently she knew that he was coming to meet me. I had no idea he was coming. So when he left her house, he had told her, yeah, I'm going to see May now. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, you know, I invested, and we signed a contract that said if I don't get my money back, I'm allowed to take his car and sell it to get back my money. Please note, this is a lot of money. Like, she invested a lot more money than I am willing to even invest in a company that I have never heard of. So I was like, you've done your thing. I chose not to sign. So she's shocked. She's like, I'm like, yeah, some things weren't adding up. He didn't give me the documents that he had said he would. And yeah, now this is just looking a bit dodgy. So I chose not to invest. She's like, but he told me that you had already signed and that now I was the second one. I'm like, he told me you had already signed, so I should invest, because if she trusts me, then you should trust me too and sign. It's like, that story didn't add up. Plus, he showed up at my house late. Did not make sense. Like, he was desperate. Then he brought up the story for the deadline, and I was like, you crazy. So she starts to tell me about this car. Please note, in a previous conversation, he had told me about this car that he was fixing up. He bought an old car and he was fixing it up to drive it. So that is the said car that she's supposed to sell to get her money back if she does not get her profits. So she asked me, have you ever seen it? I'm like, yeah, but the car I saw is sitting on my way somewhere. Like, it didn't make sense. So as soon as I said that, you could see the blood rush out of her face, because she's like, no, don't tell me that, because that's the only reason I signed up, because he said the car is in working condition. I'm like, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, or rather the second one, because clearly I did not invest and this car does not exist in the condition you're expecting it to. And you could see how angry she was. Needless to say, trust your intuition. Always trust your intuition. As soon as the first and second and third red flags came up, I was not gonna invest. And I saw the anger that came out, like, when you don't trust me, just give me the money. Now there's a deadline. I was like, So yeah, please share your con story, because you never know who you could be saving. This is just one of the con stories that I know of from this guy. Apparently there has been several. So he moves from company to company, cons people, moves along. Company to company, cons people, moves along. This is just one of those stories. So yeah, if you hear of some guy called, you have the name over there. Yeah, so please share your con story. Let us janjaruka and help each other to not get conned. So now I'm going to nominate my friend Brian Ogola. Please accept the challenge.